Where are you going? What are you doing?
That's been here a while.
Didn't you say it happened over a month ago?
You'd think her family would have replaced it with fresh flowers. That's been here a while.
Didn't you say it happened over a month ago?
You'd think her family would have replaced it with fresh flowers.
Teddy, where are you going?
Something struck this bush. She must have landed on it when... on her way down.
That's ghastly, Edward. Is that blood?
The girl could have hit her head on that rock. There would have been plenty of blood.
That's awful. I think there's something behind it. Can you move the rock aside? It must be Ruth's.
Where's the head?
Maybe the killer also decapitates dolls.
Hold on. This pin... this is old. Very old. Looks like something from the Viking era.
We are in the land of Vikings.
This could be 1,000 years old. It does not belong on a child's doll.
Who cares? Ruth is dead and you're obsessing about a rusty old pin? Let's go further up. Maybe we'll find more clues. Come on, old sport. It's not far.
Can you wait just 1 minute so that I can catch my breath? Huh. Did you follow the same path, Betty? Or am I just stumbling through darkness? Alice.
You can see clear beyond the edge of the world.
One
Oh,
second.
Teddy bear. We need to take you out walking more often.
So, the girl fell from up here.
Was pushed, you mean? Can you see where she fell? Seeing as you're so concerned about me falling out of trees, I wouldn't want to risk falling off a cliff.
If she fell headfirst on that rock, she'd have died instantly.
Edward, honestly.
You wanted to learn more. This is you learning more. She hit her head and fell into the bush where I found her doll. Happy now, Alice?
I'm not. What was she doing up here in the first place?
Playing? She was a child. Children play in dangerous places.
There must be more to it. Let's find out where this path leads.
No, absolutely not. I don't have time for this nonsense. We're running out of daylight, and Betty's still... You're still out there. Alice! Lissy, slow down. I can't keep up with you. Who knows what's up there? It's not worth the risk of falling and breaking something. Lissy? Are you there? Lissy?
Yeah? Teddy,
My word. Look away, Lissy.
is this what happened to the villagers? They killed themselves?
It's one body. Let's not jump to conclusions.
What about those fresh graves at the church? There were at least half a dozen of them. Did everyone just die?
They're not necessarily connected.
Come on. This is just ghastly. What does that say?
God forgive me.
Don't suicides go to hell? Isn't that what your father said when
Stop.
your mother
Don't.
drowned herself? Sorry. Who was he? One of the Fretlanders?
It's not Johann or Frederick. And he's too old to be Simon.
Do you think this has something to do with Ruth? Maybe she came across the hanged man before she died, and it scared her. So she ran, and
This happened later.
there's some consolation in that, I guess. Maybe it's the killer. The guilt ate him up, and he offed himself.
That's just speculation with no basis in fact. There's nothing more to do here. I'm going back. Let the poor soul rest in peace.
Does it look like he's resting in peace? You're just going to leave him hanging? You're an insensitive brute.
I'm here for Betty. It's tragic, but really none of my concern.
Betty, Betty, always Betty. You don't care about anyone else. Look at me when I'm talking to you. As I was saying, what if that was me up there? Would you care then? All you do is obsess over a scarf and a hat and ugh.
It's all I have of Betty.
Betty, there she is again. Edward, the hanged man, he's someone. No matter what he did or didn't do, he deserves respect. Would you please just do this one decent deed? If not for me, then for yourself. Or for your Betty. What are you doing? You can't just pull him down by his legs. Try loosening the noose.
I can't reach that far.
What are you doing? You can't just pull him down by his legs. Try loosening the noose.
I can't reach that far. I'm going to be sick. I can't do this.
Yes, you can. Teddy. Edward. I know you can. You've been through much worse. Where are the Fretlands, Edward?
It's been 2 days. If they're not back tonight,
They're not coming back.
perhaps they left after their daughter died.
Was murdered, you mean? Isn't that what we think happened?
She was probably murdered.
And you think Simon did it?
Your guess is as good as mine. It could have been an accident.
You're really not helping.
Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm sorry.
You're exhausted.
I buried a corpse today, Alice.
I know. I'm sorry. Why don't you sleep in the guest bedroom?
The couch is fine. The Fretlands could still come home.
All right. Just don't come crying to me if you wake up with a crick in your neck. I'll be up for a while, if you feel like talking. What did you find?
Someone tried to burn this.
Just like the book. Isn't that odd?
It's addressed to Mrs. Fretland. My dearest Anna. It's from her sister, Margaret. I really shouldn't.
Really? How else are we going to figure out what happened? Keep reading.
My dearest Anna, I miss you so very, very much. The baby is due soon, and I wish for our family to reunite before... It's been 7 years since the dreadful incident at the mine. Can we not convince Frederick and Johann to forgive and forget? I know there are things Frederick has not told me about what they found and why they parted ways. Their grudge is tearing us all apart. Frederick won't even let me speak to half of our neighbors, accusing them of treason. He's so very angry and full of regrets. It's eating him up. And we...
And we what?
The rest is unreadable.
Margaret reached out to her sister, but I guess it didn't work.
This was written before Simon was born, but burned recently.
It's almost painful to look at this photograph now. Their whole world fell apart. Ugh, I can't bear to think about it. Do you think Simon killed Ruth?
It's not important what I think.
I don't know what to believe. Sometimes children do monstrous things. Now that we know what happened to Ruth, this empty house is even spookier.
It's a house, nothing more.
You know better than most that souls can linger. Especially if they die.
There's no such thing as a soul.
Life force. Ghost. Whatever. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
The only ghosts are in our minds.
Says you.
The two brothers married twin sisters, Anna and Margaret Taylor. That's the Grovik stave church behind them.
All those hopes and dreams, ground to dust by misfortune.
I almost forgot putting this aside when I lit the fire. Wasn't there an inscription inside?
Simon gave that book to Ruth. But who burned it?
Johann? Or Anna? If they believed Simon killed her.
But they were friendly, right? Simon and Ruth. Before...
I imagine so. And we know the sisters were close.
I still don't understand why the brothers had fallen out.
Whatever drove a wedge between them, it was big. Johann and Frederick Fretland. Thick as thieves, before things took a turn.
Don't you always say that much of our pain is self-chosen?
I wonder about that.
It's the same photograph we saw in the store.
Except this one's whole.
So the brother who owns the store
Frederick.
was angry with Johann before Ruth.
Because of the mine. It all comes back to the mine.
The mine must have been a big deal for Greywoke.
Grovik. An opportunity to do more than live hand to mouth.
What a blow it must have been to lose it all.
These headlines make more sense now. Johann sells his share, and the cave-in occurs shortly thereafter, killing 3 people.
Including the younger brother.
The investor pulls out, leaving Frederick with the bills.
Oh, I feel awful for everyone. Losing a brother, losing the business.
There were no happy endings here.
You do look exhausted. Go to bed, Edward. I'll tuck you in. What are you doing?
Betty will want these back.
I don't think it's...
Not now, please. I'm exhausted.
Quite the day, huh?
I'm ready to pass out. Where will you sleep?
I'll be up for a while. My mind's simply racing.
Don't stay up late. Wake me if you hear the Fretlands arriving.
Of course. And I'll keep my eyes open for any ghosts that might want to haunt you in your sleep.
There are no...
Hush now. Sleep.
Alice? Lissy!
In the bedroom. This is her room.
Hmm?
Are you paying attention? Ruth. Can you imagine? One moment you're living a perfectly happy life, and then... nothing. Darkness. Forever and ever. Maybe there's something here that can tell us what happened to her.
This is a waste of my time.
We might be the only ones left to tell her story, Edward.
You're just being melodramatic. I'll help you look. There's still no sign of the Fretlands.
Maybe they left town after Ruth died.
What's the point of this? I should be looking for Betty.
I hate you sometimes.
Draugen.
Hey, the undead monster from those folk tales you read.
What an odd book for a child to have.
I don't know. Children love scary stories. This looks interesting. Read some of it to me, please.
In Norwegian folklore, the appearance of Draugen, the reanimated corpse of a drowned mariner, heralds death. Draugen haunts the Black Seas in a shattered boat. The beast has a man's body and wears a sou'wester. But instead of a head, there is tangled seaweed, and the revenant's chilling cry freezes mortal blood to ice. Draugen has the power to enter the dreams of the living. If you wake from such a dream, you have been spared, though someone close to you... That's enough of that. It's nonsense, of course. Not something a child should be reading.
Do you think Draugen took our boat? Maybe he's out there, on the fjord, waiting for nightfall so he can return to shore.
No.
Your soul lacks poetry, Edward Charles Harden. I pity you. Ruth was an artist.
This is very primitive.
Have you ever met a child, Edward? She wasn't Monet, she was 8. That must be Ruth and Simon's fathers.
Perhaps. They weren't on the best of terms.
They look like they want to kill each other.
To a child, maybe it looked worse than it was.
Children are more insightful than you give them credit for, Teddy Bear. She made her bed that morning. Before she...
Or her parents did. It doesn't matter. It tells us nothing.
Why are you like this today? Betty's not the only person in the world that matters.
She matters the most to me.
Ain't that the truth? This must be the village church. That's Ruth and her family on one side of the aisle. Simon and his father on the other.
A community divided.
Ruth never finished this. What does that spell? F-O-R-B.
For Banelson. The curse.
Who's that figure supposed to be? It's creepy. It looks a bit like the Draugen in her book.
A figment of her imagination. But the box she drew. It looks like this box under her desk.
Really? Let me see. Pull it out. What is this?
I believe this might qualify as actual treasure.
Is that Norwegian money?
Sort of, but ancient. Viking coins.
Are they valuable?
Not in terms of monetary value, but historically. They belong in a museum.
Looks like Ruth had her own private museum.
Why would a child have these artifacts?
She must have enjoyed collecting and playing with them.
These are much too precious to play with. She should have given these to an adult.
She was a child, Edward. To her, they were just shiny toys. Wait! The pin! On the doll!
This is where it came from, her collection.
But where did she find these treasures?
A dig, a gravesite. Wherever she found them, she wanted to keep them hidden.
You think someone found out?
These items wouldn't necessarily be worth much, except to a historian or archaeologist.
What if this is how... I mean, if someone learned she'd been collecting treasures, they might be willing to do terrible things. She made her bed that morning. Before
her parents did. It doesn't matter. It tells us nothing.
Why are you like this today? Betty's not the only person in the world that matters.
She matters the most to me.
Ain't that the truth?